So, welcome everyone to the African American Mayors Association podcast. Our mayor's breaking it down. I want to introduce my interim co-host, Mayor Van Johnson, had to make it back to Savannah. And this is our winter session, but this is Victoria Thompson, who is our director in grants for programs for the African American Mayors Association. And Victoria, guess what we have today?
Oh, shucks.
Wow, Mayor Muriel Bowser from the District of Columbia.
Yes.
So welcome, Mayor Bowser.
Thank you. Thanks for being here in DC, using one of our great DC restaurants. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so we're coming to you live this time for our winter podcast taping. And so it's snow outside. Mayor Bowser has been working 24 hours a day to clear it off. And so it's been tough.
We've had a very interesting storm. Not as much snow, a lot of ice. And so we watched on Sunday. I said it basically rained ice for like 10 hours. But our crews are out. Our DPW, DDOT teams are working hard. We've had a lot of citizens that are helping their neighbors dig out sidewalks and driveways. We had one day where we had to close the government, but our government team has been at it ever since. And the reason I'm so happy today is we were able to open school. So we had 2 school days that the kids couldn't get to school, but now they're there and learning.
And I know their parents are excited about that.
I know they are.
All righty, let's get into this conversation. So, Mayor Bowser, you've governed D.C. through moments of growth, disruption, and deep inequity. How has your thinking about youth opportunities evolved during your time as mayor?
Youth opportunities? Mm-hmm. Well, I have the privilege of being mayor. We say the best city in the world, but one of the things that we're very proud of is we've had over 40 years experience with summer youth employment. Marion Barry probably started the first summer youth employment program where young people and high school age kids were guaranteed a summer job. And that remains the case. Since Marion Barry was a mayor, we've expanded it to include college-age kids that are coming home for the summer. We serve about 13,000 kids every summer. We have focused on high-growth industries, and so we have a year-long program that's a subset of that. That's the Marion Barry Youth Leadership Institute. So we've been very focused on youth employment. I think all of us in our nation, in cities, have to focus on the impact of AI and employment. And what are the pathways going to be for kids? And, I have a 7.5-year-old. I think about, is she going to go to college in the same way that I did? Or in 10 years, is college going to look and feel different? And how then, and what areas for employment do we need to be concentrating our kids on right now? So one way that we have adjusted our curriculum for high school is to split time on high growth industry training. So some of our kids, they go to their high school in the first part of the day, and they go to one of our advanced technical career centers in the second part of the day. And they're getting real life experience in industries where we need to hire DC residents.
So, Mayor, for many young people, policy decisions made far away shape their daily lives in real ways. But how do you ensure youth voices are reflected in decisions that affect their futures?
Well, that's a great question. And I think all of us can do a better job. And I see young people communicating so fast and in different ways, and sometimes it's not positive. If we figure out how to turn that energy for something they already know how to do better than us, communicate, organize, deliver people, like they can deliver a gathering like that. If we can focus that energy on really positive things, I actually think that this generation of young people could do amazing things. So we know the history of activism and protests from, college-led activists And I'm seeing some of that energy in our young people too. We want them to really know the government, run for office, activate in ways that are positive for cities to deliver programs that are important to them. We want them to be able to do all of that. So I think really making young people in schools have venues to learn their history, learn how to really advocate for themselves and their families, and engage the political process. I think we have some work to do there.
Right, right. It's funny you say run for office because our youngest mayor to join AAMA was 18 and he had just won his election. He had just enrolled in college and he was like, Miss Phyllis, did you think I need to wait a year before I enroll in college? I said, no, baby, get your degree. We're meant to be a mayor all at the same time, but we're going to help you too. So,
Oh, wow. Is that an 18-year-old mayor?
18-year-old mayor. He's now 21.
Okay.
So we've come 4 years.
I want to watch his podcast. Right. Yes, I'm trying to see what his experience was.
And then we just had a mayor in Georgia just graduated from Clark Atlanta. So he's a brand new mayor. And so to your point, they are getting younger and younger and listening.
I do think, I think this kind of job is, man, I consider myself a young mayor. You know, I get older every day, but I'm still a young mayor. But then I look at some of the people who are like in their 30s that are coming on, and they are going to come with different ideas, especially around communication. I think that, you know, if there's a difference between that 20-year-old mayor and a mayor who's like me who's served 3 terms, it's just the way people communicate political ideas and information is just totally different now.
Definitely. And so we know that education, workforce development, and public safety often get discussed separate. How do you see them as part of a single ecosystem of opportunity for young people?
I do think that they should be discussed more together because in most communities, certainly in ours, a lot of public safety issues are related to lack of opportunity. Not all of them, but some of them are. And many kids, if they have different opportunities and the replacement for family support that they may not be getting, they'll do fine. They just will. They will choose to do the right thing. And I always tell people, I go all over the city, and even over the course of my tenure, people want to work. They're not sitting around saying, like, if they had an opportunity of something that they think they can be successful in, they want that opportunity. They want to provide for themselves and their families. And so removing barriers for people who have employment barriers is not a 1-month deal. It's not a 1 summer deal. But it is worth it because if you can get really, especially men in their communities who are contributing to their families, it changes the trajectory for their whole family.
Amir, we've already talked about this, but DC has invested programs focused on internships, career paths, and skills training. But what have you learned about what actually works and what doesn't work?
What actually works is training with a job at the end. Mm-hmm. So many cities and many of my colleagues, I'm sure, would tell you that we invest in a lot of training, and not all of it is a good investment. I started a program called the DC Infrastructure Academy. It's probably now 10 years old. And when one of our utilities wanted to come in and expand, we partnered with them. And the Infrastructure Academy is all infrastructure jobs. And at the time, we had our water company was doing $4 billion of tunnels. Our electric company was doing like a $2 billion undergrounding project. Our metro was expanding out to Dulles Airport. Our gas company was doing all this underground replacement. When you added all that up, it was billions of dollars of infrastructure work, and not enough DC residents were trained to do it. So what we asked them to do, we built a facility. In fact, we just expanded it, is to identify the hires that they were going to make in a 6-month period, 12-month period, hold them for the graduates of the Infrastructure Academy. And at the end, if a person is successful going through the training, they are guaranteed that job. that works. That works. Training for training's sake does not work. Training with a job at the end, it works every time.
I think I'm the oldest person at the table. In fact, I know I am. And so when you were talking about like online classes and AI, the way they communicate, none of that existed when I went to college. Right. But we didn't have like, because when I just typed up our rate, right. We didn't have a cell phone in college. So we just had to wait to call each other or buzz each other in the dorm and all those things. And so for young people navigating things like housing instability, justice involvement, and disconnection from school and timing matters, how does the city intervene early enough to change trajectories?
School. And this is what, I'm having this like debate right now that some people don't think I should open the schools and let kids be off for the whole week because it snowed. Some people are like, yes, you open the school. But we spend billions of dollars on public education. We have the best buildings. We have the best trained teaching staff, I think, in the country. And kids can't learn or change if they're not in school. And so it's important for us to get the city open so they can go to school. It's important for parents to have a high value on education so that kids are going to school every day. And it's important for us to have an engaging curriculum. But when we have like highly trained, caring, loving, challenging adults, they're at school and they're with our kids 8 hours a day. And they help us identify earlier than anything else when there is a family in trouble. And so having kids in school, we know they're in a positive environment where they're loved and challenged. And it could be a link for the whole family for service. I think that's the best way. And I sometimes get in trouble for saying this, but this is who I am and how I govern. If we have a child who is stealing, carjacking, robbing at 12 years old, and we don't stop them, we don't provide the right level of consequences, at 18, I promise you, they're going to be committing the types of crimes that change their life and maybe another family's life. So we have to be honest about early intervention with our youth who may be committing crimes.
Yeah, I noticed. I don't know if you know this. I'm originally from Little Rock, so I've only been in D.C. for a year. But what I learned quickly before I got here, in Arkansas, we have open gear and carry the gun and all that. But D.C. has some of the strictest gun laws next to New York and other places that I never even heard about. So my friend quickly told me, Phyllis, you can't bring your 9mm to D.C. It's a process you have to go through. Yeah. So I appreciate that process. So my 9mm is still at home.
Okay.
I figured you appreciate that.
I do. I appreciate that very much. Although we comply with the Second Amendment, I just want to say this. And so there is a process, and the people can have a concealed carry here now. That needs to be the case. I'm just of the belief that there are too many guns in this country. We have more guns than people in America.
Yes. I know. Enough.
Mayor, it is very clear that you have a heart for young people. We appreciate all the work that you have done. But what responsibilities do cities have, not just to protect young people, but to actively expand their sense of possibility?
Yeah, I think that I'm glad you phrased it that way. What responsibility do cities have? You didn't say what responsibility does the city government have, okay? And there's a difference. The government can do certain things. The government can't do everything. And I worry sometimes that well-meaning people crowd out what the community used to do and say the government is doing it now. And I think that's very dangerous. If we say that the government is responsible for getting kids to school, I mean, my mother was responsible for getting me to school and making me want to go to school. And doing all of those things. So I think that the government, and what we're very proud of, is we're very aggressive on building affordable housing and making sure people are in stable, affordable and clean quality housing. We do everything to make sure that our young people had a health insurance so that they're connected to good care and increasingly connected to all the providers, behavioral health providers, vaccination, pediatrician. All of our kids ride free on the metro. I was proud to do that when I was on the city council, so it's a program that's near and dear to my heart. So all of our kids have nutrition support. Most kids qualify for free lunch at school, aftercare programs. The thing that I will leave undone, but I know that we can build on it, is we started to make sure we had more universal access to quality aftercare programs. And we have some programs. We always want to up the quality so that the program that's offered on our east side of the city is just as good as the program that's offered on the west side of the city. And all of those things help equalize what we offer kids. And we have, and it's a lot of discussion now about universal child care. We have been able to offer universal pre-K 3 in this city for 10 years. So 3-year-olds go to school, real teachers, real school buildings for free, guaranteed. And we're all of us are watching closely what's going to happen in New York City. It looks like they're going to take that down to 2 years old. And I think that can be a game changer for families. Very expensive. Very, very expensive. But what we notice about universal 3-year-old programs is if they're in the schools, still expensive, but the quality is so good. Quality matters.
So as we wind down this conversation, I heard that you announced that you're not going to run for re-election. So inquiring minds want to know, what's next for Muriel Bowser?
I'm talking to everybody, so if you have some ideas, I won't narrow down on a decision probably until in summer or later. Our primary is here in June, and I made the hard decision not to seek re-election because the people have given me a great run. I was on the council for almost 8 years. I'll be mayor for 12 years.
Is that the first to be mayor for?
Marion was also mayor.
But not consecutive, right?
3 consecutive, okay. Had a break, and then he did one more.
Okay.
So that's why he's known as the mayor for life.
Okay. All right.
But in my life, I'm going to do something else too. So I've had just a tremendous run. We've done the things that we said that we were going to do, including getting our sports teams locked in, bringing the Commanders home, dealing with crazy political environment, but keeping the city whole. 2 Trumps, one, I had a Biden, 2 Trumps, and an Obama. And, we have managed to keep our city whole, but the fight for statehood, we've advanced it. The world can see why it's so important. And I know that future mayors are going to build on the work that we did.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure.
And we look forward to what's ahead.
I'll be keeping you in touch.
Right. So thank you to our listening audience for visiting us today. And our mayor is breaking it down.